April, but I had the sequel to this book to write before then, and there was just no way. So I got to fight cancer and write a lot. I did not have to go through chemo. I went through radiation. It was brutal, but these books, I can't say that they saved my life because my doctors did that. But knowing what I had to get up and do every single day, it kept me focused on something else besides the pain. It kept me focused on something else besides the fear. And all the time that all these scary things were happening all around me, I was in Edwardian England. I had people talking to me in English voices inside my head. And I'm sure that it wasn't just the copious amounts of morphine that I was on. But, you know, so when I finished writing this book, and this is the third book, I do have the other two available for sale tonight. I cried. I cried and cried and cried. And it wasn't so much the book, though the book is really good and it does make people cry. It was a release and the finish of this immense goal that I'd set out for myself. And about the same time, I got the news that I was completely clean. That my PET scan was, everything was clean. So it was the culmination for me of one of the most difficult things I've ever done in my life. So I'm going to read just a little snippet. It's not deep and it's not heavy. It's entertaining, and it's fun. And I have to take off my glasses to do something. Most people put on glasses to read. I can't read with glasses. All right. Can I get a drink of water before I start? My throat gets really, really dry, really easily. So I won't read. My daughter Megan. All right, a little bit. Victoria was a suffragette, and this takes place just at the beginning of World War I. And she'd already been incarcerated for her activities, and coming from a bluer-blooded family, it was rather looked down upon. She's going to visit a friend. The butler led her into the drawing room, and Victoria's heart sank when she saw the guests seated proper and upright in their seats. Her eyes swept to Kit, and her heart sank even lower at the sour expression marring his handsome face. Mrs. Craigtridge was nowhere to be seen. Kit stood, a look of relief crossing his features. Victoria, how wonderful to see you. I'm sure you know Mrs. Gertrude Asquith, Lady Elizabeth Reinhardt, Lady Eloise Cash, and Mrs. Genevieve Balfour. Victoria nodded with a pleasant smile on her face, her eyes darting to Kit. How do you do? It's so very hot outside, isn't it? She addressed this last part to the room in general, but Kit jumped on it as if he'd been waiting for something to do. Yes, it is. Would you like some lemonade? That would be very nice, thank you. She looked at his vacated spot on the sofa. She did want his support. If she was going to be stuck having tea with these women, who had no doubt heard of her incarceration, but she didn't want to give him any ideas. However, the only other available seat was between Mrs. Asquith and Lady Cash, and she just couldn't make herself do it. She took the spot on the sofa and gave a vague society smile to the women around her. She suppressed a little shiver as they stared at her with varying degrees of curiosity and general disapproval, no doubt because she would come into their august presence wearing a simple serge walking suit and a short-sleeved blouse of white lace. Too late, she remembered the matching jacket she'd taken off in the heat of the motor car. How are your sister's wedding plans coming along, my dear? Mrs. Asquith asked. She wore a fancy visiting dress of tobacco-colored satin and a kimono-sleeved bodice, but most startling to Victoria was her straw hat, upon which an entire brown bird was impaled on the front of the crown. Surely that wasn't a real bird. Victoria forced her eyes away from the pitiful figure. It's going wonderfully well, though they did decide to move the date out a bit further. Lady Cash clucked critically. Isn't that the second time the wedding has been delayed? The women all leaned forward ever so slightly in unison, as if they were about to hear some previously undisclosed gossip. Victoria pressed further back into the sofa. Yes, Sebastian's older sister is in her confinement, and he wishes her to be at the ceremony. Lady Cash looked disappointed, while the others glanced at one another as if wondering if Victoria should be chastised for mentioning the word confinement. Here you are. Kit handed her a glass of lemonade. She took it thankfully and eyed the seat next to her. Too bad, the look said. If I have to put up with this, so do you. Kit caught her meaning and sat with the aggrieved air of someone staring at the mark. Where was Mrs. Kittredge anyway, and why had Victoria been asked to this happy little party? Are you in London with your aunt? Lady Balfour asked. Victoria's spirits were revived by the cold drink and Kit's proximity, and she instinctively adopted the same breezy tone she used with Aunt Charlotte. No, I'm here by myself. I'm flat shopping, actually. Lady Balfour arched her eyebrows. Whatever for? Oh, I'm moving to London to take a job, or volunteer, to be more precise. I'm going to work at the Rogers Settlement House. Lady Reinhardt, who remained silent till now, audibly gasped, and even Mrs. Asquith's dead bird seemed to look at Victoria reproachfully. Next to her, Kit stifled a laugh, and Victoria felt the devil rise up in her. Well, I've never heard of such a thing, Lady Cash said. Oh, yes, Victoria nodded. I'm going to be a lady bachelor. My nurse from prison will be living with me. The silence dropped into the room like a bomb. The women glanced at one another, unsure as what to do or say next. Victoria, after all, was the niece of their friend, the formidable Lady Charlotte, and the daughter of a knight. Victoria, are you shocking my guests? And I'm going to leave it there, though there's lots of fun stuff going on. I love this time in history, and this one too, set in the 20s, because this was the time when technology was just taking off. Women's rights were just starting to truly take hold. You can go back to Susan B. Anthony in the 1880s, and that's really when it started. But this time, during the 1910 up to World War I, it really took off. And things were changing so incredibly fast. And one of the reasons that I am a historical writer is I love the research. So lots of people come into these books because they're just so much fun. But that's all I got. Thank you very much.